start this webinar around sustainable tourism. I'm really happy to start with this recording webinar. I'm Domenico di Siena. I'm the community lead at Fairbnb.coop. And I have the pleasure to be here with Pedro, which is our expert on sustainable tourism. Hello, Pedro.
Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be here too.
Thanks, Pedro, for your time. I think we will have an interesting conversation. And we are here also with Teresa from Fairbnb.coop team. Teresa, hello, Teresa.
Hello.
And strangely, we have another Teresa, which is our great guest today. We were waiting for more guests from the crowdfunding campaign. We would like to remember that this webinar is possible thanks to the generosity from our community that contributes with our crowdfunding campaign. And we were waiting for other people, but only Teresa, another Teresa, was available today. So hello, Teresa. Would you like to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Why not? My name's Teresa. I'm from Zaragoza, Spain. And well, when I heard about the Fairbnb initiative, I was very interested. I think it's a great thing to do, and I was really happy to contribute. And yeah, I'm really interested on sustainable tourism, so I'm really excited and curious to hear everything you're going to tell us today.
Thanks, Teresa. So let's start. So I think the best way to have this interesting conversation is maybe start, let's say, by the end, which is not really an end, but it's maybe a new start. Let's talk a little bit about our present. So we know that we are facing an interesting and maybe challenging time for tourism. So I would like to know from Pedro, first, if you could maybe introduce more yourself, who you are and what you are experience and your background and how you are connected with Fairbnb.coop, and then maybe start with a first thoughts about sustainable tourism, but exactly in our time today, which are particularly challenging.
Of course, Domenico, thank you. As you said, my name is Pedro Sánchez from Granada, Spain. I was born here in Granada, quite touristy city. I studied tourism degree in University of Granada, and then I have developed my career basically in other destinations all over the world: United Kingdom, Caribbean, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Mexico, also in Tunisia. Basically, I have worked as general manager, hotel general manager, and I have managed another tourist companies. And after a while, I set up my own business. My company is Ecohost. We are in charge of consultancy for sustainable tourism here in Granada. Our clients are basically guests, also companies, also public administrations who want to develop a more sustainable type of business. Personally, I focused on sustainability 3-4 years ago. And as I have already been for a while in touch with tourism, I decided to help in a way to any movement or any initiative that could be connected with sustainability. From my experience in tourism, I have realized already that tourism has a lot to do with sustainability, and the chance and the opportunity that tourism has itself as system that connects travelers and also hosts is huge, because this philosophy is interesting for spreading the voice about sustainability. We have already assisted several companies here in Spain, also in some foreign companies, some foreign countries. And what they want basically is to take advantage of the sustainability for their own business. So, as you said, Domenico, after introducing myself, we are facing a big challenge in the whole tourism industry. Tourism is almost disappeared right now. It's something that has been shocking for all of us, and we will see what happens. But we do know already that sustainability can be a key factor for the future of the world, and also for the future of sustainability. We are already seeing some trends, some movements in the industry that are trying to answer all the demands from clients and travelers that are willing to discover a new way of traveling. So, from my experience, what I have known during this time is that there is a huge impact on people. People who work on tourism has lost their jobs. We also have to think that destinations placing, let's say, more south or more tropical places in the world are traditionally destinations that are receiving the bigger amounts of tourism. And the disappearance of tourism, the lack of tourism, has affected them a lot. So that's something that I find very dangerous, very important to face, because in places like Cuba and Mexico, Asia, in all these destinations, Southeast Asia especially, people are really suffering after this moment. There is no tourism anymore there. They have lost, most of them, they have lost their jobs. Some of them, they are working in other fields, but it is a lack of incomes on these countries and in these economies. So there we have an important problem to face. And currently, if we talk about right now about our current situation, that's a priority in my opinion.
Domenico, you are muted.
Sorry, I was. So Pedro, let's. No, I was saying that. So this is a really challenging situation. So it would be interesting to think about how sustainable tourism actually could offer an alternative. So creating a different approach to tourism that maybe in the future could avoid, or maybe not create this this huge problem that we are facing right now. So I don't know if you have any starting point for our conversation about how actually sustainable tourism could create a better ecosystem in each destination.
Sure, there is a problem, a clear problem, and that problem is that we haven't worried about that much until right now that tourism has disappeared. But the model, the system of tourists that we were living in was not sustainable anymore, as it has always been very extractive. When you actually ask someone, a traveler who visits a new destination, they already think that they are contributing to their develop by visiting it, because they are spending their money there, they are sleeping in their accommodations, they are eating local foods and stuff like that. But they don't think what is inside the industry. What we have inside the industry is that the commissions that reservations make are leaving the destination. So when a problem like this comes and nobody has had expected how to deal with this, we realize that the local communities do not have the weapons, do not have the tools to react and to face this challenge. Instead of protecting them, tourism has extract the value of the territory, but it has no care about its sustainability. I like to, when we talk about sustainability, I like to underline or highlight the concept itself. Sustainability is not something that complex. It is just making something last. It is all about the lasting of something, and we can apply that to tourism, to economy, or to anything. It's sustainable. It's an adjective that means basically that something lasts, and that next generations won't suffer because of the way we manage the system right now. In terms of societies, in terms of environment, the tourism system has been also very extractive. It has not cared about its lasting, about future. We know many destinations all over the world, probably the ones that are here that know Spain, all destinations, massive tourism destinations like Costa del Sol or some places like that. They have been overpressed by tourism, and the local community suffer their consequences. So there are 2 points, 2 trends or 2 forces that are pushing for a new sustainable tourism or a new system. Firstly, we've got the economy, the clients, travelers. Travelers are more than ever worried and concerned about sustainability. And travelers demand more sustainable products. We know already that almost 70% of consumers do care about sustainability or do take sustainable reasons when buying something. It could be travel, it could be a flight, or it could be an apple. On the other hand, public administrations are also starting to rule about sustainability, and new regulations, new laws are tending to, if not force business, economy, and people to deal in a more sustainable way, at least, let's say, rewarding the companies, the products, the people that are caring about sustainability. So there is a clear trend in the market related to that. We have an example, a clear example, that came after this crisis with France. French government decided to create its own platform for reservations in order to replace traditional platforms that we know. that take commissions and they fly away somewhere in United States or somewhere else. So they are already proposing a national public platform for bookings that keep the platform as a tax, and then they reinvest that in the local territory or in the country. That comes from the public administrations. If we talk about private sector, private economy, we see, for example, an alliance between a few tour operators, Skyscanner, the flights booking platform, and what they are doing is creating a more sustainable product. So when you book a flight with Skyscanner, you can already compare those companies, those airlines who are more or less sustainable. And that is going to affect our decision when buying it. So just for you to think about it, just for you to get your opinion about it, I would ask you about that. What you think about the new model or the new way of traveling that can come after this COVID crisis?
I would say that Teresa, I don't know if you have Teresa Zaragoza. So I don't know if you want to answer the Pedro question. What is coming?
What's coming? Yeah, it's a hard question. I was wondering, one of my ideas was maybe we're gonna, I don't know how much we're concerned of what's going on right now. Maybe I have no idea, this is just a guess, that maybe we start a tendency of traveling less or maybe traveling closer to our home. So maybe we start using a lot less, I don't know, planes or yeah, maybe even trains, but just trying to be more local, trying to discover the places that are around us instead of, you know, always wondering what's going on the other side of the world. Or I don't know if this is a tendency that is going to be I don't know, the mainstream in the next years, or maybe after a year or so we recover this hunger for exploring and moving away. But yeah, definitely I've seen this tendency of being more sustainable. But I think we still need a lot of education to really understand what's sustainable, and I don't know, to comprehend that our impact in the local communities is really big in the end. It's not just going there and spending some money, as Pedro said. It's also the intermediaries, all the people who are moving money here and there, and yeah, it's a complex scenario.
I mean, thanks, Teresa. Meanwhile, another member of the team is joined, Eugenio. I take advantage to say hello, Eugenio. We are in the conversation, so I don't know if you want to say hello.
Hi, good evening. Sorry for being late. I was on another call. Nice to meet you, Teresa. I just had the time to hear your thoughts, and of course, it's going to be part of the brainstorming that is expecting, I think, not only us, but the whole travel industries in the next years, probably, not only months. So we'll have to work on it.
Regarding the Teresa point, it is true that even before this crisis, people were starting to fly less. So that concern about the level of pollution that flights take, it's something real. As Teresa says, the level of understanding of the concept of sustainability is still very, very low. According to the figures, we know only 25% of population are feel familiar with the concept of sustainability. So it is a problem of education, definitely. We will never know if we are too late for that. New generations, it is true, there are a lot more concerned and they feel a lot more responsible in regards of sustainability. And we will see what happens. In the economy, we see investments are moving to sustainable fields like renewable energies and stuff like that. We also think something that is called the green wash, and it's that effort that companies take in order to improve their reputation. And there we've got the question, is that real or is just something they are doing because they want to look, they want to seem more responsible and they want to sell more? It's just a marketing campaign. It is hard to know. It is hard to know. We never know. But just the fact that, for example, Coca-Cola brings a recycle label on their bottles, it means that millions of people are getting that message, and that's already something. Many of these companies have not been responsible in the last years, and we do not know if they have changed their mind. Probably they have not, but at least there is something going on. There is something going on. And also about with the 2030 agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals, there is a movement all over the world that is also spreading the voice. Unfortunately, this is happening especially in more developed countries, let's say more in Europe than anywhere else. But well, we are in that, and we will see how it goes.
And Pedro, I was thinking, so you mentioned that it's really important the awareness, no? Be aware about the problem. And at the beginning, you were talking about how actually a lot of travelers even didn't know about the negative effect of their travel. So it's interesting to appreciate how actually new generations are actually taking a new way. Let's say they are more, no, you were saying that they are more aware about the problem, and it's not just be aware, they really act different. So they are looking for different way to do and to be more responsible and sustainable. And we also were talking about how the ecosystem of tourism were in a way changing, and you even mentioned that people started to fly less. And I'm just making a short resume about what you said, and how actually even the big company are, more and more approaching the sustainability. And so maybe there is the risk about greenwashing and even we could say social washing. And we were talking before about actually the challenging that the health crisis with the coronavirus is bringing to us. So which you think could be now for people that are engaged in these activities in different cities, which actions or which approaches you would suggest to change the destination, let's say the orientation that we had in the past?
Well, the thing is that time flies, and we are fighting against the time in terms of environment, in terms of economies and societies. We don't have a lot of time. So public administrations, governments have already realized, even if their interests are not really focused on sustainability, that the system needs to be managed in another way, in a more sustainable way. And please, let's not confuse sustainable with green, with just something good for the environment. It is proof that we don't have resources in the world for sustaining this system. And this is not something related to any politics or anything like that. It is just an issue related to quantity of resources and the quantity of demand of them that you've got. For example, just to give you an example, with the current situation, with the current system, the way we produce in the world, the way we consume in the world, the way we deal with resources, in Europe, we need 3 planets to get the resources we need for this productive system. But that's in Europe, which is, let's say, the most responsible region in the world in terms of economy. If we talk about the United States, they are taking 5 times the resources of the world to sustain their system. So after all, future is not what it used to be. And even if you are a company that you don't care, or you are a politician and you don't care about sustainability or about environment, about nature, you want to keep your profitability. And that is not going to last for a lot longer in this way. That's why they are changing their minds and they are trying to look for a more sustainable way, whether it is real, it is honest or not. And I think we can all do something in our spaces, in our work, in our lives, in order to help to support this movement.
I was thinking that, Teresa, I don't know if you have a specific interest or question. We know that the subject is really huge, so you are our main guest today. That so this is possible thanks to you. So I don't know if you have a specific question.
Well, I don't have a specific question, but I agree with you in the greenwashing, that it's quite hard sometimes to trust these big companies. You see them doing something good and you think, okay, is this really good because you really mean it, or you're getting something from all of this? So I think that creates a lot of mistrust, and because you see Coca-Cola or whoever doing something good, and then you realize that they were tricking you, and then I think everybody becomes a little bit like with a defense, because you don't really believe all the good things that you see around. And yeah, I was agreeing with you on that. And then I was also thinking that to be aware of the problems that traditional tourism so far, like one of the, for me, the biggest problems is that, yeah, we have to change the way we know tourism, because it's not sustainable. But how do we tell people, how we do tell ourselves that, okay, you cannot fly how you were flying too far because it's not good? How do you tell yourself, okay, now you cannot go to Thailand once a year, or next year to Colombia just for fun, because, well, it's simply not possible. So I think it's a lot of work what we have to do. And yeah, that's what I meant about education before. I think for me, that's one of the biggest problems, because it's not even fighting the system, it's fighting yourself, like, you know, accepting that there's some things that, I don't know, some sacrifices, I guess, that you have to do. I don't know how to face this situation, you know, it's complicated.
Pedro, I don't know if you have some react. I remember also the other Teresa and Eugenio. If you have any comment or question, you are welcome.
Maybe I have like comment question that I can attach to the other Teresa comment. When we started our talk, we were talking about like this situation of Corona, where when people stopped traveling, and this was affecting a lot the economy of places that are surviving because of massive tourism, like, I don't know, Southeast Asia. But at the same time, we know that we are not sustainable if we keep traveling that much. Also, like, I'm thinking, how do we combine these two realities, that some places really need tourists, but at the same time, we can't keep traveling that much as we were doing before.
Yeah, that's the point. Finding the balance between an economic activity and the future of the societies is the key point. But we don't have to confuse it, because growth, economical development does not have to be a problem for future generations. That's something that we have misunderstood, in my opinion. Did you know how many flights could be already managed in an electrical way? We already have the resources to, in terms of technology, it is absolutely fine, is absolutely available to start making planes that does not pollute. It's the same with cars. We are having more electrical cars right now, but it was already 40 years ago when we had the resources and the tools to have electrical cars. So behind all that, what we find are individual interests and other kind of pressures that are not under our control. Definitely, we've got the tools, we've got the weapons. We are developing our science a lot, and it is by far enough to build a more sustainable world. So traveling is a problem right now for the sustainability, because the measures, the way we travel is not sustainable. Number of population in the world in last 300 years has increased 7 times the population in the whole history of the human being. But that people are trying to make us think that that's a problem, that we are overpopulated, but our planet has resources enough to feed all of us. The thing is the way we consume, the way we produce, the way we eat, the way we manage our economies is not sustainable. It is the opposite of that. We focus on an economy very extractive, aggressive, and not thinking on societies. So in every field, and tourism is just another part of the chain, in every field, we've got a lot better ways to deal with our system. And I think pressure of people is important. We are seeing how governments have changed, have turned their politics when big pressures from societies come related to environment. We are seeing how regulations are changing, but it is, to me, it is too slow. It has to be deeper and faster. El volumen, Domenico.
How to do that? So you were mentioning governments, you were mentioning companies, citizens. What do you think? How where we can start? I heard Teresa about education. It's something interesting. But what do you think? Where we can start, or how we can push that more?
Well, it depends on you. Go ahead, Teresa.
No, I have no idea. How can we impact more on people and make them more aware? I think there's already many campaigns working on that. Well, I'm very interested on the topic, so I guess they impact me quite a lot. I don't know if someone who has no interest, if they see the campaigns at all, or what's going on. I don't know, maybe, I don't know where the root of all of this is. I don't know if you, Pedro, have another suggestion.
Well, I think everyone has a lot to do, and things like the Fairbnb is a source of inspiration for many people. When you do someone or your neighbors doing something cool that is good for us, good for everyone, you just copy it. And sometimes that's the way we will do things. You go to the supermarket and you bring your bottle or your bag, your box, instead of having a new one. People see what you do and people start doing the same. That's a change that is developing. And of course, there are three agents on this situation: governments, societies, and economy and companies. And the Sustainable Development Goals try to bring all the effort together. Unfortunately, there is an effort again for this sustainable washing, and even politicians are taking this campaign in order to reach their own interests. But well, we are citizens, and we are here to say what we do like, what we do not like. In every decision we take, the product we buy, the movie we watch, the song we listen to, we are having an influence.
I was thinking, Pedro, I remember Teresa, both, Eugenio, if you have questions and comments, let us know. And no, I was thinking about, for instance, how actually society started taking seriously the recycle and the reutilization, for instance, which is amazing. If I think when I was, a child, and now how actually is quite automatically the behavior to, to recycle as much as possible. So I was thinking how actually we can having the same, the same attention and the same behavior, how we can change the behavior connected with travel and tourism, because there is something that also impacts me. Watching and talking with people, watching television, some mainstream programs, and that I didn't do for a lot of time. And right now I'm watching again and talking with people. It shocked me how actually people say a lot they love to travel. So and they consider travel as a hobby, something that you do to fulfill your life in a way. So, you even could work because then you can travel. So how we can change this? You know, how we can change the understanding we have about traveling, as we did with recycle and reutilization. You know what I mean? How we can change and the way we think about this traveling, understanding that we are helping. So for instance, to be clear, Fairbnb is one of them. No, we are saying, okay, it's good to travel, but let's do in a different way. So our way is, okay, we take care of local communities, and we avoid as much as possible gentrification, to simplify, you know, as possible, if it's possible, our project. What kind of other approaches, you know, attention we could have in for the tourist industry, for the travelers? You know what I mean? What because, you know, gentrification, local community. I don't know if there are other attention as a consumer, tourist consumer, I could have when I travel.
Sure, there are many initiatives, but the thing is that they need to be profitable. From our work experience, what companies are interested on, and that's reasonable, is in being profitable. Otherwise, it is not sustainable for them. But it is true that sustainability right now is something profitable. And if your company, your product is able to show your market, your commitment, then you will be positioned in a better place, and then you can get better results. So the more economy gets more sustainable, the more society is gonna receive that message also. And the three fields have to come together. It is very nice that we find in Europe initiatives like this, but the problem is that we are a connected community of 7,000 million people all over the world. So if we do have cool and nice campaigns, and we do care about sustainability, it is not going to have any impact unless all the people is able to have this time, to have this education, to think about that. Because, for example, we are talking about pollution. If you go to Cuba, it's a country where cars are 60, 70, 80 years old. There are no many new cars. And even people cannot afford a car. How are you going to ask them or to invite them to pollute less when they are not even able to afford a car? So it brings the three factors together: economy, societies, and also travelers. It is also true that travelers, we do care about destinations. I don't know you, but when I travel and I'm somewhere, you know, as soon as you arrive to the place, you are in a dream, and everything is new for you. It's surprising, it's exciting, and you want to be part of the local place, and you want to be more proactive. Also, you want to feel what they feel. You care about their problems. Okay, when you get back home, you almost forget about all that, but it is a key moment to give them the message, to give us the message of the impact that our travels have. So if we are able to communicate with travelers and to let them know how good is their travel when they travel this way, and how bad it is when they go massively or in a not responsible way, they will care about that. After all, we are human beings, we think about each other, and we like good things, we like solidarity, and we don't like to see people suffering. So it is a message that sometimes we try to cover. When you get to a destination, you only try to show people how beautiful and how nice your place is and hide the bad signs. But more people, a lot of people are interested on knowing about the local issues, how people live, how people build their houses, how they look for a job, and how is their life.
Yeah, really important thoughts, Pedro. So we are approaching the end of this session. So I would ask for the last comments and questions.
Yeah, finally, it's interesting the connection between all your comments, because Teresa was saying at the beginning, I will say it less politely, but less diplomatically, we are spoiled about travel. Okay, so how can we stop to get holidays every summer, and how we can say to people that are now arriving at such a level of development where they can enjoy traveling, say to them, no, this is not good for the environment, this is not good for the community you visit. And as Pedro said, the solution has to be economically valuable, because of course there is a huge economic interest on the back of it. So you have to merge different points of view, society, governments, and private sector. But the example of Domenico was interesting, because finally recycling plastic bottles or a different approach to this specific issue didn't stop the world to work. I mean, we still drink water, we still drink Coca-Cola or whatever, but in a different way. So we develop an alternative, we develop a solution to a problem that was there. So it means that trying, and Fairbnb could be, as many other alternatives, can be a solution to make people understand, and in the long term find something good, because of course we are living now today and we want the impact to be visible today, but it's not going to happen probably in our short term. So everything that we are thinking, everything that we are saying, everything that we are doing will have an impact in the, let's say, 5 to 10 years maybe. So it's just to keep focus on to don't forget, actually, as Pedro said, that when we visit a destination, we saw some problems. So don't forget about that problem when we come back home, and find a way to balance. And the traveling is really important, because create an empathy, as Pedro was saying, create an empathy between different cultures. So even if you're moving around having some impacts, that you will impact whatever you do in your life. So this is unfortunately how it works. The point is to, as a leverage, you use the leverage point to make it good some back starting. So this could be a sign of kind of optimism to say, okay, let's use the small solution that we have right now. We're not going to change the system tomorrow, probably, even because it's a quite settled capitalist system that pushes to buy and to get more satisfaction buying some experiences, not only other things, but small groups are growing around the world as a reaction to this. We can't hear you.
Again, it's amazing. I don't know, any more reaction, Teresa?
I particularly find it very interesting, the link that you both said between the sustainable tourism with emotional values. And I think that could be a key to promote a sustainable tourism, to tell people, hey, if you behave like this, look how good it is for the local community. So how good everything goes when you take care of how the impact or the way you travel, the transport you choose. I think that's good. And I think it would also be a key to insist of the idea of authenticity of tourism when we do it in a sustainable way, because in the end, we all want to go to Cuba or Vietnam or whatever and truly immerse ourselves in the local communities, right? That's why we travel, to get out of our kind of reality and meet the other. And if we link that with the idea of doing good to the other, I think that would be a good way of impacting people.
And yeah, I think that especially like this period where we had to stop doing what we were doing, I think it helped a lot to reflect on like our traveling society and our way of travel, like 2 weeks per year to a destination, probably check it on your list, and then the year after you go somewhere else for 2 weeks. It's kind of extracting process, not just for economy, but also like for culture. You go there, you see, photograph, and then the year after you go somewhere else. Probably you will never come back to the same place. And I think that of course, I don't mean like to stop doing that, but probably like there are some strategies that we can take personally. For example, I think in this period we have this feeling that we can't do like so short trips, and maybe we have the possibility to work from abroad and spend more time in a place. So also and get to know better the community, and just not go take pictures and leave. So I think that's kind of recycle idea that Domenico was talking about. Just the fact that we think about sustainability doesn't have to stop us to do things. It's just like find another way to do that.
Thanks. Pedro, you're lost.
I do agree with all of your points. They are very true. And I would say at the end of this, I would say something that I had sometime, and is that education is always the beginning and the end of the problems of each society. And this is just another problem of the societies, is another problem we are facing, and education is the only way to face it.
Thanks, Pedro. I think it's a beautiful way to finish this session. I would thank Teresa, Eugenio, especially you, Pedro, that you offered your time today to have this interesting conversation. I would like to thank as well all the backers that were helping us with the crowdfunding campaign we did. And thanks to all of you that you will see this short conversation. I would like to really to thank you for your help. And here Teresa is representing all of you. And I would say that we are trying to go in this positive direction. There is a lot of job to do. And specifically, I would like just to remember that if there is anything we can do to help all of you that you are acting locally, we are here. So our specifically Fairbnb is really focused on this idea that we can distribute the effort and help each local community to do something relevant. So thanks, and we are here to hear from you and help you. Thanks.